let's get into the last main topic, and it is about scurrying Hollywood. Yikes! Yikes! Here we go again. Here we go again. Hollywood is out here getting scurred. But before we talk about why they scurred, can we talk about like some good stuff? Like Sinners. Sinners is out here doing things, right? Sinners has gotten an A+ on Cinema Score. I've told y'all about Cinema Score. That is the people. That's not the critics. That's not the press. That's not the media. That is the regular, everyday people. The second you walk out of a theater, what did you think about the movie? That movie just got an A. And think about this, okay? When you think about this is a rated R movie, which already is limiting the audience. It's a black film, heavily black themed, created, all of that, limiting the audience even more. And it's a horror movie because y'all know y'all some scaries out there. That's even more limiting. So the fact that this is getting all that with those factors is huge. It's got a 4.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And please let me correct some of y'all right now, because I've seen the comments and some of y'all don't know what you're talking about. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes does not mean the movie is a perfect 10 out of 10. That's not what it means. It just means that the 98% of the reviews that came out were a 6 and higher, right? So all them people, all 80-some critics or whoever, 98% gave a 6 or higher rating, and that's what qualifies to be fresh. So they could have all given them 6s out of 10s, and it would still be 98% fresh. All right. Number 1 at the domestic box office. Number 1, this black-led film, this horror, this rated R film, number 1 in the box office. It is the best reviewed wide release of this decade. In the last 10 years, it is the biggest domestic opening for an original film this decade. I need y'all to understand, an original film that's not an IP. It's not some big franchise. This ain't something based off of books. It's original. And it's got one of the best domestic openings so far. So, with that, let's look at some of these numbers. We got all these accolades. And Variety decides to point this out. Sinners has amassed $61 million in its global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated horror film, yet the WB release has a $90 million price tag before the global marketing expenses, so profitability remains a ways away. Now, I don't really deal too much in the box office stuff. I mean, I look at it, but it's not really something I gravitate to all the time. I usually like to look at it after, the numbers come in. But what? Why are you worried about the profitability when the movie just came out? Keep in mind, this is literally 2 days. It's 2 days that this movie probably even touched a theater screen, and y'all talking about the profitability already? And this is where, shout out to Ben Stiller, and he says, in what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio movie warrant this headline? And he's right. Because you're not going to see this. You're not going to see headlines from a major outlet questioning a film's profitability this soon. Let me rephrase that. You won't see them questioning an original movie's profitability this soon. Now, here's the thing. If this was a Marvel movie, if this was like a Star Wars thing, if this was a DC thing, something that usually has a track record, that would make more sense. Now, okay, I get it. Like, we know Marvel movies open with this and do that. That's different. But you're talking about an original film that made a significant amount of money, because 60 million domestically, and we're not even talking about globally, domestically is nothing to laugh at. That is a very nice accomplishment in the first couple days. Now you want to question whether it has merit. You want to question whether this movie is qualified to make its money back and make profit. It's real suspect. It's real suspect. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm glad that they got called out on this. Like Variety, they absolutely hold on. I want to see the writer. Hold on. I'm just curious. I didn't read the article. Rebecca Rubin. Yeah. Ah, it's not a good look, Rebecca. Not a good look. Anywho, so if that wasn't already one issue, right? We sit here now. Remember, we just talked about all the accolades, right? We talked about all the accolades that this movie was getting on already. Then there was like another piece that came out. And this is where apparently Hollywood got shook. Let's look at this. Ryan Coogler's WB deal to gain ownership of Sinners 25 years after release has Hollywood ultra freaked out. It could be the end of the studio system. An exec at another studio tells me my dive into this dangerous deal. Chris, what you look like? Okay. So apparently, Ryan Coogler made a deal with WB, and we'll get into the details, where he basically wanted the rights to this movie back. Right? Now, usually filmmakers, they will make a movie, the studio will buy the rights to it, and that's it. This is one of the reasons why even Sly Stallone, who created the Rocky character, wrote the script, directed all of that, does not own the property and the rights to Rocky. Rocky is his baby. He made it. That's his thing. But he doesn't own it because he never made that kind of deal. He just didn't do it. But Ryan Coogler, part of his negotiation was that I want the rights. And we're not even talking about like immediately. We're talking about the rights in 25 years. When this man is in his 60s, then Sinners will be able to come back to him. So here's where we get to dig it into this a little deeper. We sit here and see here that, one of the studio execs, because I'm not going to read that Vulture article, but one of the execs declared that, that deal, it'll be the end of the studio system. However, shout out to receipts. George Lucas, Star Wars himself, passed on a directorial fee for Star Wars episode 4. Episode 6, A New Hope. 4, sorry. Instead, deciding to retain ownership of the merchandising and licensing fees. Richard Linklater was able to secure certain rights to Boyhood, giving up his upfront fee in exchange for marketing and revenue streams. Mel Gibson ended up financing the whole Passion of the Christ himself. And here's the other thing, Quentin Tarantino, he did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sony was in a bidding war with WB at the time, and Sony won by giving Tarantino copyright control of the film. Have y'all noticed the difference here? Has anyone noticed anything with this yet? So this deal has been made before. This deal is something that is not new to Hollywood, but apparently now it's going to ruin the studios. It's going to end the system. What? Now, Ryan Coogler has also responded to this And I'd like to play that clip, and I want to see what he has to say.
Talk about what you...
Hold on, let's get that. So this is him responding to what happened with his deal and all.
And talk about what you negotiated in making Sinners, the arrangement you had with Warner Brothers. The New York Times reports Warner Brothers agreed to spend $90 million to make Sinners and agreed to give you a cut of gross ticket sales. Now,
first of all, that's huge. You get some of the money up front. That's big.
Rare arrangement known as first dollar gross, meaning before they recoup their costs, you're getting money as well. Warner also agreed, and this is absolutely key, to relinquish its ownership of the film to you after 25 years. The Times reports, quote, some rival film companies were horrified that Warner Brothers would give a film away even after a period of time. Talk about these key components of your contract and why this was so critical for you, Ryan Coogler.
That's a great question. I mean, what I will do is I'll maybe add some context that maybe those articles didn't add. I'm not the first filmmaker to get any of these deals.
Nope.
You know, and Warner Brothers is not the first studio to provide these deals to a filmmaker.
Nope.
You know, so like I think that a lot has been made of my deal in particular.
Why is that?
I'm not totally sure why. You know, I have my guesses. You know, but I've been in the industry long enough to know what kind of deals are possible, and nothing about this deal is a new thing. You know.
What's your guesses, Ryan?
It's not a
Ooh, great follow up. Great follow up.
I'd rather not say.
Don't do it.
but you know, like the attention on what's happening with this project, you know, outside of it as a piece of art and as a piece of commerce has been very interesting, you know. But for me, you know, this film was very important to me. As a writer director, I've made over $2 billion at the global box office. I'm not yet 40 years old. It's taken a lot of time, commitment, energy, and I've missed out on a lot of things in my life. Making films that will always be owned by other people. For this one, because it was so personal, and because I had the ability to negotiate. You know, I asked for a few things that were very important to me for this project. You know, and for what it was about and what it meant to me and my family. And thankfully, you know, I was able to get those things I was asking for from Warner Brothers.
Fantastic. Masterclass. Great job. Great job. Yes. So we'll talk about those things. We know that, you know, according to the reports, there was a bidding war. There was all this stuff going on. And clearly we see why those other studios backed out. But let's back up for a second. Ryan Coogler had some thoughts on why this was a conversation. Why was his deal getting all this attention when other people have had similar deals and no one gave two craps about it? When asked about this, Ryan Coogler said that he had some ideas, and when he was pressed, he said, I'd rather not say why. And I think that is brilliant because I need this brother to protect the bag, protect himself at all costs. So while Ryan Coogler cannot say why these other studios or these outlets are scared or why this is a news topic at all, I will. It's called racism. That's all. Good old-fashioned racism. When you have something that is fine and dandy when white men especially do it, and when a black man does it, it automatically becomes dangerous. You know what else used to be dangerous? Voting. When black folks could vote. Whoa! Who's gonna what? Why? That was dangerous too. When black folks were no longer slaves and they were going to have some property and they were actually minding their business and trying to start businesses and be prosperous, that was dangerous too. When black folks tried to partake in the same rights and privileges that every other tax-paying American Army veteran serving person could partake in, that was dangerous too. This is racism. We don't have to sugarcoat it. It's racism. If it wasn't a danger when George Lucas did it, if it wasn't a danger when Quentin Tarantino did it, if it wasn't a danger when Mel Gibson did it, but now it's a danger because a black brother from Oakland made a little movie about his uncle, now the end of the industry is going to happen. It's racism. That's it. This ain't complicated. It's racism. This is part of the colonizer white supremacist mindset. When things are going good for you, but when you see somebody who does not look like you partake in it and potentially benefit, you feel threatened. You feel like something is losing, something is being taken from you when it's not, because you've been benefiting from it for years. That's why this is dangerous all of a sudden. Because, oh my gosh, are we being diverse with the benefits? Are we including people in these benefits now? Are we going to share in the equity? So Ryan Coogler ain't got to say it. I'll say it. It's straight up racism. That's all. I don't care where you are politically, whatever. This is racism. But I love the fact that, he put this out there. He knew his value. He knew his worth. And he was able to get that back. Now, here's the funny thing, though. We heard that, I want to say, Amazon was on there. Maybe Netflix. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Sony might have been in there. But a lot of studios were bidding for this because they know Ryan Coogler's worth. They know his worth. But it was only WB that said yes. Right? Now, we have to remember, WB needs this. Right? And by the way, let me also throw this in there. Do y'all think that this would be a story at all if it was Christopher Nolan? If we found out, because, again, I'm telling you, it's racism, right? If we heard the story that Christopher Nolan is doing this Odyssey story, this movie or whatever, and he negotiated to get the rights back, forget it. How about if we just did it for The Dark Knight, since y'all love The Dark Knight so much? Christopher Nolan negotiated to do this. Would y'all not be praising how smart that was? Would people be talking about the end of the industry if Christopher Nolan agreed to get his money back, his rights back, to get paid up front? Did we not sit here and praise the genius of someone like Robert Downey Jr., who signed that amazing contract with Marvel and's been stealing from them every single time? Why do we praise when those guys do it, but when a black man does it, it's scary? Y'all freaked out. Y'all be telling on yourselves just too much. Y'all be telling on yourselves. Because listen, I would be the first in line to say, if I heard Christopher Nolan was, getting the right, I'd be like, man, that's smart. The difference is, I don't view that as a threat. The same way, I look at what Ryan Coogler did, and I'm like, yo, that was smart. That was good. You got something, because here's the thing. If this was like Black Panther, it wouldn't make any sense, right? Ryan Coogler would not have any place to sit here and go to Marvel and be like, yo, I want to own Black Panther in 25 years, and I want this and this. Man, Marvel would be like, man, get out of here. We can go get somebody else. That makes sense. Marvel owns the property. Marvel, owns the rights. That's not yours. But this was something this brother made from scratch. This was something that this brother made that is not connected to some book. It's not connected to a previous IP or franchise. This was his. So the least that he can do is say, here you go. You can go ahead. I want my money off the top before y'all get profit. And I want that back in 25 years. Because y'all didn't come up with it. Y'all didn't buy the rights before this. This would not even exist. And you see my resume. This man had every right to ask for every piece and to have those demands met. Every right. Let's go back to this article real quick. Oh, can I take this off? There we go. Let's take this down. So we know that he's getting a 25. So it says here that he will have final say, director's cut. Y'all know that's hard enough to get in Hollywood. He's going to receive his money as soon as the film starts making money instead of waiting for the studio to turn a profit. That's always nice. And he gets the rights back after 25 years. It says here that the lifetime, long-term value of our film properties is what makes a studio studio. This is the exec that thought it was all scary. It's how MGM sold for $8 billion. Things like licensing and windowing these films throw off hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year globally. So the whole idea of building up your library and you lose it in 25 years, wait a second, you just gave up all your revenue down the line. Excuse me, sir, shut up. Whoever this executives, shut up. Shut up. Because woe is me, this billion-dollar company can't own this movie that they didn't come up with or that they didn't buy the rights to. Y'all could have countered right back. I'm just saying, why didn't y'all offer him more money? If it's so valuable then. If it was so valuable to you, offer them more money. Or if you're a studio out there and the director is asking you for this or the writer or whatever, just say no. Nobody's forcing you to agree to these terms. Walk away. Let somebody else make that bank. Here's another option. Maybe in 25 years, when the rights go back to him, you buy it. You could just make him an offer and just be like, hey, can we have this? Here's a couple $1 million. Like, whatever. Last time I checked, according to this report, you got 25 years to also milk this. 25 years to sit here and put it on Netflix, to license it out, to make your DVDs, make your money. What are you crying for? Make whatever money you think you got to make with this. This isn't even a franchise. It's not, I mean, I think it could be, but y'all not doing nothing else with this. Make your money, go home and be quiet. You think you're going to cry over this? Woe is me. Oh man, we can't build our company. How about you go get some other movies? Y'all already thirsty of making remakes left and right anyway. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not falling for the crocodile tears from the rich billionaires at this point, or millionaires, whatever. And this says Warner Brothers Discovery. It really does speak to their past. If we recall, WB was in shambles during the pandemic. Y'all remember, the Snyderverse was not helping them. The pandemic was not helping them. They decided to go behind all these directors' backs and put movies on streaming instead of in the theaters as they agreed. That made people like Christopher Nolan dislike them, write terrible things about them. WB was a problem. They lost a lot of executives. They had to get new people in, whatever. But they messed up a lot of their relationships with filmmakers. So this right here, especially when they lost Christopher Nolan, was probably one of the best deals that they could make to show that they are a filmmaker-friendly studio. So this was actually great optics for WB to demonstrate and to show, hey, we like filmmakers so much, this is what we're willing to do. Because this deal that Ryan Coogler just signed, I would not be surprised if other filmmakers are like, oh, you know what? Okay, WB seems to, they might have their head back on the right shoulders. Like maybe they got their act together. And, to their credit, they actually came out and said, this was from Mike DeLuca, who's one of the chief executives. It's not a make or break thing for any studio in the industry. It was a competitive situation. Ryan himself went on the record saying he was going to get it from somebody else, and he made a pretty effective case for this movie, especially with its themes of Black ownership. This is very important and personal to him, and frankly, we're proud to be able to give it to Ryan. Good. That's what I want to hear from the studio. Hey, this brother came in, he made his case, it was personal. The movie itself talks about Black ownership and the purpose of it. Is that not ironic? Is that not ironic? The fact that if you've seen the movie, you know what happened with the whole ownership situation. And now you got outlets talking about how dangerous it is to let these Black men get all this stuff. Like, come on now. Come on now. Shout out to WB for at least understanding. Because that's you clearly had multiple studios in that same bidding war that thought differently. They all rejected Ryan except for WB. And Warner Brothers, DeLuca comes back and says that, yeah, Coogler's going to come back. He said, I just spoke to him this morning. He will absolutely be back after Black Panther 3. Ryan Coogler might have just found a new home. He might be their new Christopher Nolan. And if you think about it, both of them kind of have a similar trajectory. Christopher Nolan started with like a very indie film with Memento. Ryan did with Fruitvale Station. And then after that, they jumped into like studio things with The Dark Knight and then Black Panther. And then now they're able to kind of do their own little thing. Like they're having similar trajectories, right? Now, obviously, Coogler doesn't have as many films as Nolan, but they're on the same path. So I love this. I love what Coogler's doing. I respect the hustle. I respect the engine, the innovation and the foresight on what to do with this and protect your property, protect your rights. And you know what? I hope that this does affect the industry. I don't think it's going to break it, but I do think it will affect the industry. We're like, listen, if you have a project, it's a banger and your worth, get your money, man, and protect yourself. Anyway, guys, that is all we have for today. What do you think about Ryan Coogler scaring Hollywood with his offer and his deal that WB accepted? What do you think about WB backing him up? Whatever you think, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.
Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.